one can say that in the name of this chapter of the Vayishlach, which means to uh, and he sent, yeah? Meaning there is future and past in it, but as well in the Hebrew you have in it sending forth, yeah? And sort of being able to extend one's mission to the world, to others, and as well. So it's about sending and extending. It's about the root of the word to do with mission, with a definition of the mission of spirit, or the third line mission, and is to do as well with weakness, that will sort of expose itself. And one can say that in the weakness of oneself, as Jacob is saying, in the lies a strength that nothing can bind. And this is the struggle with the angel, that within oneself, when Jacob is being described as being left alone, yeah, I look at it after he is saying that he feels so little, unworthy in front of the truth and the grace that has been done with him so far. He knows that he needs to prepare himself to the struggle or to the war with Esav. But we need to understand why this entity, which is called Jacob, this spirit that has been so well kept and guarded and sort of guided through all his, one can say, all his journey. And the moment that he's coming back to actually fulfill his promise, or to fulfill the covenant, he's feeling so much alone. And what is this struggle with Esav that he fears so much? So we need to look at at the whole creation and to see the sort of the position, because the firstborn, or the first birth, or the right of the firstborn of creation is the will to receive for oneself, which is being represented by Esav. This basically is the firstborn of what came out of creation, or what came out of the thought of the Creator to bestow goodness to his creature. It needed, and it still needs, so one can say it needs continuously a vessel of reception. So when Jacob is looking at his mission in relation to that, he's a second born, meaning is the second aspect of creation, which is to do with Binah, which is to do with adhesion to the reformation of creation. It's not the purpose of creation. It's the mean, or the means and ways in order to allow creation to be fulfilled, or to fulfill its purpose. But then it gets a status of firstborn, because first it needs to reform. It needs tikkun, and the tikkun basically is inside the attitude of the vessel towards the Creator. Is it interested more in the presence, or in the present, or in the present and in the presence of the Creator? So it needs to sort out whether it's okay with a vessel to receive everything without actually keeping the relationship, the attitude very close to the giver of the gift. So this is the mission of Jacob, the reformation, or to make all vessels adequate to receive. And at the moment it has been decided by Malchut to be so. It's a law upon us. So the question of Jacob is whether he's worthy. So the struggling with that angel, or with that man, or ish in Hebrew, is could be read as an inner struggle between the two forces of reception and bestowal. And it seems that he cannot meet the outside world, or what we call reality, or what we call the existential paradigm, or existential facts or occurrences, without first having this inner fight settled. So this fight will always happen at night, because at night, or in the dark, it is the time to build the true adequate vessel, to reform it. Okay, so therefore we see that when Jacob is leaving Israel, or when the spirit is leaving its domicile, its natural domicile, which is in the world of Atzilut, the sun is coming down. And now when the struggle is being set and settled by Jacob, one can say, feeling or achieving a new name, one can say a new identity of being the head, of being with the right of the firstborn, that can actually deal and have dominion over the heart of people and God. Then when this is done, the sun is coming up again. Okay? It means that the time of reformation has started, and the light that can shine from it had started to appear in the world through Jacob. In a soul level, it seems that if we don't settle the struggle within us, we always meet everything outside as a partnership for war or for struggle. But if we set it in ourselves, it seems that we change already the opponent into something that can meet as brothers, with the recognition of brothers. And the recognition of brothers, it means we are of the same root, we are of the same source. Okay, so this is one thing which is very important to see, that this coming back, or sending oneself into one's true origin, of spirit can actually set up or start a new unfolding of presence and history. Okay? But still, we can say that Jacob is after all this struggle and getting a new name and being acknowledged by the will to receive, by the one can say by the governor of the will to receive, which is the one he fought with. Still, he chooses not to use it, and we can see it by the meeting with Esav, because he's actually calling him his master. So let's look at the verse in the paragraph. We are actually we are chapter 33. Okay. Chapter 33, and we start that looking up, Jacob saw Esav coming accompanied by 400 men. He divided the children among Leah, Rachel, and the two maids, putting the maids and their children first, Leah and her children next, and Rachel and Joseph last. He himself went on ahead and bowed low to the ground 7 times until he was near his brother. And Esav ran to greet him. He embraced him, and falling on his neck, he kissed him. And they wept, both of them. Okay. So everyone is, there is sort of a struggle, definitely in the Zohar, of how to read this humbleness, as we spoke before, of Jacob in front of Esav, after he actually conquered the master, or the Lord, one can say, that dominate Esav's existence. So why this 7 bows? 7 bows. So one of explanation of the Zohar is that as he's saying to Esav, he is now able to see God in him. Yeah. Okay. So he's saying to him, is asking him to take his presence from him. Yeah. Because if you look at 10, at verse 10, but Jacob said, "No, I pray you, if you would do me this favor, accept from me this gift, for to see your face is like seeing the face of God, and you have received me favorably." So he actually saw God in the face of that governor or dominion of the left side, to be of God part, which did not disclose his name to him. Because if he would disclose his name to him, he would know that he is serving the same purpose, and therefore it will actually vacant from meaning, the sense of what is the will to receive, and one, or the perception of evil and how to use it as an imperfection. So he's saying, one can say by Jacob agreeing in himself that Esav is God's part, that it enables them to meet in such a way. And still we are sort of baffled by the by this act of humiliation. One can call it humility, and one can call it humiliation in front of a self. It depends how mature is the identity of Israel in oneself. But one of the explanations of the Zohar is that actually he bowed to the God part, or to the divinity part that walked in front of him towards the self. So it's bowing to him 7 times. But it has to do as well with what would be apparent in the corporal world, which is the dominion of Esav, or of Rome, or of Edom, till it will go through 7 parts of allowing, of one can say, of bowing, of this reformation part of the importance of the law or the rule of spirituality in front of corporality. So there will be 7 surrenders or humiliation of Israel in front, meaning of that part which is real in us, in front of existence, till it will come to maturity. So 7 times can be counted as from the flight of Jacob to the descending to Egypt, to first destruction of the temple, second destruction of the temple, and in between there is the exile. Yeah, so those are the bows, and then the exile and the Holocaust, and the bowing of getting permission from all nations to actually establish that which should be clear and understood, that belongs to this part that is called Israel. So this is pointing that all this portion of Torah, Vayishlach, is very much to do with past, present, and future of the mission of Jacob to become Israel and then to become Yeshurun, what is called, at the end of time. Okay. And still, there is will be always this, one can say, actualizing the law of creation, of what is really determined to be the right of the firstborn. And the firstborn, the eldest, will be the power of reformation, the power of Bina, the power of the return of ourselves to be in unison, adequate, in adhesion to the qualities of the Creator, which mean an ability to bestow goodness in terms of, not only in terms of thinking and feeling towards other, but actually in terms of creating a reality in which all will be able to feel and to enact and to be with a presence, with a revealed presence of the will of the Creator. So I'd like to sort of to pause here and to see if you have some question concerning it, and before I move on. Okay. Yeah. So it is interesting to see how the Zohar is starting. Just to have a look at this part, because we are actually looking at the way the Zohar is reading, right? Yeah. So I spoke about it shortly, but we'll start. And Jacob sent malachim, which is messengers or angels or powers, ahead of him. Yeah. And this is how it starts. He's sending it to Esav, his brother. Look at how it's said in the beginning. He's sending the messenger ahead to his brother, Esav, in the land of Seir, Sdedom. It means that it sounds like when Abraham is being sent to sacrifice Isaac, it is being sort of explained so there will be no mistakes. So no one can actually run away from the responsibility of this mission. And in Zohar, it starts with Rabbi Yehuda opened, yeah, for he will command his messengers, God, for he will command his messengers, malachim, his angels, to guard you in all your ways. This verse has been established. The moment a human being comes into the world, it's not that he's being born corporally, but when a human being, meaning Adam, is coming into consciousness, there is an awakening of the consciousness of his identity as wishing or longing to become in simile to the qualities of God, to the actions of God. This is what it means. Yeah. That the moment a human being comes into the world, the evil impulses or the will to receive to oneself appears along with him, inciting him, okay, constantly. As it is said, at the opening of the crouches, evil implores. It means that the will to receive is actually coming into presence and into action at the moment this awakening in oneself is being expressed or being felt. So in a way, this power, yeah, is being dominating what I said, that the power of the will to receive is dominating the world we live in. And when something in our heart is being awakened, what we call the point in the heart, which is the awareness of the higher, the awareness of the creator, the awareness that we have in ourselves a consciousness, a part that wish to be partner with the completion of creation, then we actually meet a self. We don't meet it before, because before that it is sort of embedded in our ways of life. So it becomes more apparent and an opponent, one can say, when we are on the opening or the opening of the womb that actually is going to give birth to the spirit. So this is actually the meaning of how Jacob felt, that he's going to actually to be born in a place, in an actual place, is going to demand, one can say, his presence inside the world, And as he's going to be born in it, he's going to have to face Esav. He's going to have to face what represents the will to receive to oneself. This is what the Zohar is saying to us. This is what it means that Jacob sent messenger ahead to his brother. So as we see that at the beginning, we're trying to appease the will to receive, to allow us to survive, to allow our spirit to survive. We're not yet feeling that what we have is so soft and delicate in us that we don't feel that it is a match for the powers of the will to receive. And therefore, we need to see them struggling, and we need to see the dominion of the spirit over the will to receive, because the will to receive is a servant of the spirit, not the other way around. So this is why the Zohar is starting with this. So we continue. Okay, in a minute. Okay. And he's saying that as well, if we want to see that this is how we will meet David as the expression of Malchut. David too called it sin, since it causes one to sin in the presence of his Lord. What it means to sin? That we actually make a hole. It's like a puncture. This is a sin. A puncture that does not allow the light to run away from us, to disappear. It means that we're missing the purpose. It's a state in which we miss the awareness of the purpose, or the presence of the purpose. Okay. So this is actually the beginning, and therefore we understand why Jacob needs to stay alone, meaning without the powers that help him so far, but to actually come into a decision or a choice within oneself through an inner struggle to actually allow the power of the spirit, or the power of the third way, or the power of that which is going to be tikkun olam, which is going to be the reformation of all spirit, and to come into expression. Yeah. If one comes to purify himself, that even impulse, meaning the will to receive to oneself, is overturned. Overturned does not mean disappeared. And the right, which means the righteousness of the right, of the will to bestow, prevails over left, both joining to guard him in all the paths that he takes, as it is said, for he will command his angel to guard you in all your ways. It means that one can say that Jacob, in becoming Israel, accept deeply the left side and its purpose in the formation of himself as the middle line, or Israel. And then how he would be able to interact with all those spirits which are lodged in the will to receive. We can see that there are some attempts in this, but they still fail. But the attempts and the knowing in Jacob and in Israel that this is imperative, that this is part of the mission, is part of what is lodged in us in this portion of Vayishlach. This is how we send ourselves to our future, how we recognize our weaknesses, and in between, how the mission is forming itself in us by actually recognizing that the left, or the recognition of evil, or the will to receive in ourselves, is paramount and important in order to be able to draw more light into our condition, into our reality. Okay.